keep the protocols observed and say congratulations, iRadio, on attaining the 12th anniversary. I don't have a speech really. I was invited and I thought I was coming to celebrate with Emmanuel Kembe, Helena celebrate. So we should be celebrating actually, not giving speeches. And that will be even much more of celebration for Mama Becky, whom some of you know and some may not know, especially young people. If you ask some of the young people, they will say, oh, she's the one we see in the Ministry of Telecommunications, the one we see, but there's a lot in the background that some of you need to know about us with all humility. Because I want to celebrate, that's why you will allow me just to go back a little bit down memory lane and say and remember very vividly in my mind and in my heart those days of Sudan Radio Service, SRS. Because as much as you know, there's a transformation of SRS, Sudan Radio Service, into iRadio. And if I take you back memory lane of Mama Becky and Stephen Umiri and Kong, James, Butele, and the list is very long, Nicola Mendil, and all of you, David Amor, James, name them. So I should be celebrating today because I also consider myself, if you accept what they call me Mama Becky, that is short for Rebecca. But when you love your mom, then you call her by those nice names that you enjoy. So for those who don't know who is Mama Becky, this is Rebecca standing before you. But it's an indication also from the young people that they had a mom with them, with whom we walked together. I was not in front, we were walking side by side with them. And also, as said by Dr. James, that was the beginning of our walk towards peace by then. And when the SRS came up, it was born out of peace. And therefore, for us journalists, by then, we consider ourselves ambassadors of peace, and therefore we dedicated all our time to work for peace. I was pushed out of BBC monitoring service in Nairobi. That's where I worked for 6 years. And then there was a lot of mobilization and lobby to extract me out of the BBC and bring me to Sudan Radio Service. I would have said, you bring me out of very mighty BBC to come to a small little radio which is still just coming up. But then inside me, it was that the BBC was very big, mighty, and in between, you do a lot. But when you are doing something for your country, even if it's on a small forum, for us it meant much. It meant much. And therefore, I thank God and I said, I will go for Sudan Radio Service. BBC, I can still get it anytime. But still for Sudan Radio Service, by then it was very important because we needed to build the peace that we wanted for our country. And I take this opportunity to thank USAID and also remember our leader, Jeremy Gross, and many of them who were with us, and my colleague, John Tanza, and Victor Logala, and a number of them with whom we work together. So to take my team, my former team, although we still won in the professionalism of radio and television, I still consider them colleagues. And I know one day, one time, because for us, media was not just, an office to work in, but it's part of our life. And if some of you don't know, also I come from the background of Radio SPLA. So I'm actually blood and flesh of journalism and media. Whatever assignments I have now, I know I go back to my media fraternity brothers and sisters. And I know one day when we also finish what we are doing, we'll come back again to the studio, because our life has been in the studio and we love it so much. So I consider myself a mother of the media and a grandmother of the media. And you know, there's nothing like when your children grow, when you are still also just looking like them in some way. Apart from the gray hair and some of the change of look in the face, but you still grow with your children. So when I see Stephen Omiri and Kong and all of them, Hawari, I just say, look, I've been growing together with my children. And I feel so big and so proud. It's not only this generation, but also there were younger ones with us. And that I consider grandchildren. So if my grandchildren have grown while I'm still like this, then I feel so proud and so happy, and I thank God for all that. And I say the sky is the limit. So I'm a mother of media and a grandmother of media in very good condition. So if I'm still in a very good condition, there's still a lot that is desired from me to continue to do. So the team, I just want you to get up. Let me see you. Let me enjoy you. Where are you? All of you media, including all of you who were in the other, for you, all of them media. They are behind there. Look, a mother with this kind of children, what do you say? There's even Doggy. Doggy is here. Doggy, you can get up. Let them see. I want them to know the proximity. We are not far from one another. That's the Doggy. He was a baby by then. And a number of you behind there. So I really want to say I'm so happy, I'm so proud of Sudan Radio Service by then, which is iRadio now. And we did a lot of training from zero. And we lived in the studios until very late in the night. And we trained, not only training, but mentoring. And I had some of my team sitting next to me in the studio, because we wanted to make sure that we are not only giving them the information to cram in their heads, but it was practical on the console. And we did the editing together, and we did the broadcast together. So that for me was planting of seeds for South Sudan, peace and media. And as we are harvesting today, I think some of these experiences we have to learn from them, how you start from somewhere. We had a member of the staff that came without any background in the media completely, but it didn't take them long to pick up. And this is one I want to take back to our people of South Sudan and say, look, you have natural intelligence that God has created in you that others don't do. You have it natural. Please don't squander it. Make use of it. Because those whom we train without any background in the media, it didn't take them long to pick it up. And we started actually shining and going on the world map. And when we were covering the peace agreement, we were covering the agreement in Khartoum, the signing and all this, by then you were all over the place. In Nyayo Stadium, in Sah al-Khadraf al-Khartoum, in the palace in Khartoum, and everywhere you were present and you were presenting yourself in the best way possible. Let me come to iRadio very quickly. It took us also time before I left. And when I left, I was again pushed. You know, I kept on being pushed. I don't know why. But I also had to come and do some homework home. It was time for peace. And I was also recalled by my government to come and make my contribution to the building of the structures of the government and contributing to the transformation into peace. But when I left with a lot of messages from my colleagues that we are going to continue to work and strengthen the media, work for peace in our country, and continue to be not only the voice, but also the eye, as mentioned earlier. And it took us time to sit as the staff to discuss what do we name Sudan Radio Service in the new era. We went round and brought proposals, and we will analyze until that time when we zeroed in on iRadio. I don't have to say much about the I. It has already been introduced by Dr. James, but I think the I is one of those centers in human body that is to see, that is to recognize, and through which you can see the world, not only the world, the physical one, but beyond that. The eye is the heart, and the eye is the brain, and the eye is the human being. So naming it iRadio, for us, it had a lot of connotation. And when we talk about these principles, which are very important, accuracy, objectivity, and credibility, we all live with that. As journalists, there is nothing that will make you a true journalist if you don't follow these kinds of principles. It doesn't matter what you say, as long as you believe in it. It matters a lot when you are accurate, when you are cross-checking your information, when you are not against anybody, but you are telling the truth. These are the principles that you live with as a journalist. And therefore, with whatever environment we are operating in, you remain a true journalist when you follow the principles of journalism. And you are carried by that heart that you have, that you are doing something for your people. So I want to encourage the team, all of you in the iRadio, those whom I have mentioned and those who have not mentioned, that we continue with the principles that we know are very important: truth, accuracy, and all the aspects of professionalism for media. Media is the fourth estate, and it's counted always with the three because it's very important to the lives of human beings. And therefore you will have to work harder and harder to ensure that you live to the principles that you have learned in our training from day one. I know you'll go through challenges, and you've gone through challenges. But it's not only in South Sudan. Everywhere where the media is, there are challenges. It's even worse in some countries. And I don't have to tell you. You know all that. You know all that. There are some who've lost their lives. There are some who've gone through difficulties. But when you stick to the truth, you will go across the road and you shall overcome. So I want to encourage us not to back down, not to feel threatened, not to be afraid, but also to follow the ethics that you've been trained, because we also have our ethics. Sometimes we also want to dare too much, not because we don't fear people, but you have principles that you follow. They apply to you, and they apply also to the person or the news or the information that you are reporting. But if you also stick to the ethics, they will help you to go across the road. So I don't want to speak much, but to encourage you to follow what you know. And I want to encourage the iRadio to continue to grow. I said earlier, 12 years now are the years of celebration. But There's still a lot ahead of you. If you want to live like the other media houses, then you still have to continue to grow. You need to continue to grow. When we were in Sudan radio service, we told ourselves that this radio should not only survive within our work towards peacemaking. So it means then we were not going to work only because we want the time of the peace agreement for us to survive. But we said we are going to go beyond that. The team in Khartoum, the team in Nairobi, by then, we made sure that we are all going to come home. And guess what? We managed to come to Juba. And we continue to cover the period of the transition, the first part of it. Then I believe iRadio, is that Stephen, continue to say that we are not going to stop at 12 years or 15 years or 20 years. You need also to live just like any other media houses in the world. And let your benchmark should not be within here. Because I said earlier, if the products of those who were part of the building of iRadio are lecturers, are senior people, many of them are sitting here, then what stops you from competing just like any other media houses in the world? You can, isn't it? Can we? Can we? Can we? Yes, we should. So 12 years is just one of those first steps that we have taken. The first difficult period when we were born, and then the stage we have reached in the transition, and then now where we are now, and you are part of building peace in this country. Therefore, you still have a lot in your plate to finish. And it's not going to finish now. So I want to call upon my sons and daughters and grandchildren, since we have baptized Mama Becky already, that I want to see the 5th and the 7th grandchildren of iRadio. I'm not going away. Eh? I'm still here. You know, I'm the same one from 20 years ago. If you see my photo, somebody sent me a picture yesterday and told me, Mama Becky, you're still the same like the way we saw you in 2006. I said, fine. So we are still there to continue to support one another. This is what I mean, so that we have the iRadio continue to grow. And then iRadio in collaboration with other media houses. We work in collaboration, the UGIs. And I want to congratulate you for your good job, and all of you, so that we can move the media fraternity forward. I want to commit and say that with my background, I will continue to be there for you. Don't hesitate. You need me, I'll be there. You don't need me, I will still come. It's still our responsibility to continue to ensure that media grow in our country. And we do our work in the best way possible, accuracy, objectivity, and ensure that we serve our people. There's a lot we need for peace. Now we are the time of the roadmap, and we are committed to ensure that the roadmap is implemented, and therefore it is the media, the fourth estate, that will help in connecting with the grassroots, with the people, with the rural, with all of us. So I want to stop here and say thank you very much for this celebration, for inviting us. I would encourage iRadio to really celebrate and say you have done something very good. The people outside there are following up with you. Work with them, give them the voice they need, criticize them if needs be, but continue to build your capacity, because iRadio is not going to stop here. It will have to continue. We need the media. We need the media in our country. So I want to thank you all and congratulate you. Ukara Khalina, celebrate, as the singer would say. Celebrate, congratulations on the 12th anniversary of iRadio. Thank you. Thank you very much.